Update. Am I the a-hole for refusing to go to my sister's wedding after finding out only our side of the family were having to pay to attend? Original post. So my younger sister, Katie 28 female, and her partner, Chris 29 male, are getting married in April in Dubai. She has always wanted an extravagant wedding and is going all out. The wedding is happening over 4 days. There are 70 guests, but they want us, me, my husband, and parents, to stay in the same hotel with them along with her bridesmaids and groomsmen. I'm the maid of honor. The hotel is pretty luxurious, so with flights it's costing us just over £2,900 each. Chris's family are also staying in the hotel, which includes his parents, 2 brothers, and his nephew. They are well off. I don't know exactly how much they earn combined, but I know Katie is on $88,000 and she's the lower earner. But about 6 months ago, Chris and Katie came to us and asked to borrow £17,000. They stressed it would be a loan paid over time and said the venue had increased the price. Dubai law was different, blah blah blah. They had to pay this money or they would lose the lot. We believed them, and I offered to loan £7,000 and my parents the other £10,000. So long story short, I have since found out through someone else that the £17,000 wasn't for the venue. It was for Chris's family to fly over there. They saw how much it was going to be, didn't want to pay, and refused to go. I asked Katie and she confirmed it. So my first question was, if they were paying for his parents, why not pay for ours? I would never expect them to pay for me. Even if we couldn't afford it, I'd have wished them well and stayed at home. And her answer was, because they can afford it. She got very defensive and said this was the fairest way she could think of doing it. It's hard enough planning a wedding, etc. But when I asked, if you genuinely thought this was the fairest way to do it, why did you lie about what the £17,000 was for and say it was a venue issue? She couldn't answer. My parents are aware and are very disappointed they lied, but have said they're still attending. But I have backed out. To me, it feels like my parents are being taken advantage of. And if they couldn't afford to pay for both sets of parents, his brothers and nephew, then they should have just paid for the 4 parents or no one at all. And they especially shouldn't have lied about it. Katie and Chris keep calling and asking me to attend, saying I'm making them feel bad and ruining their day. But the whole thing just feels icky to me. I'm genuinely an open book, so be brutal. Am I being an a-hole here? Should I just suck it up and go? Edit. Crumbs. That's a lot of comments, haha. Thanks so much, everyone. Just wanted to answer a couple of questions or comments that have come up a lot. 1. The repayment. My husband's brother is a solicitor, and he kindly drew up a contract and repayment plan for both myself and my parents, so the money will be paid off within 12 months of the wedding. If they don't stick to this, I have access to a free solicitor, haha. I hope it won't come to that, but that's why I have the papers for worst case scenario. 2. Asking for the £7,000 back. I might be a soft touch, but asking for this back feels like a step too far. Like I'm mad as heck, but not enough to actively try to ruin their wedding a few weeks before, which is what it feels like, right now at least, that would be doing. But hey, give me a few more days to stew. Edit 2. Thanks again for all the feedback, everyone. Just another quick FYI. A few people have asked about Chris's family or seem to have the impression they're well off. I'm obviously not privy to their financial situation, but from what little I do know from what Katie has said, Chris and his family grew up very poor. Before all this, I'd always thought Chris was a lovely guy, but I had caught him in the odd but harmless white lie. Things like where he went to school, the type of house he grew up in, etc. I get the impression he is embarrassed or resentful of his upbringing, given their lack of money, and this is how he now values his own self-worth, by how much money he has. My guess is, when his family said they couldn't go, he panicked and worried people would ask why they weren't there, and he would either have to say they couldn't afford it, or he couldn't afford to pay for them. And look, his past trauma or experience is not for me to judge, but if that were the case, it just makes me more mad that they both didn't plan ahead and talk to friends and family about what they could afford before booking Dubai. If it was such a deal breaker for his family to be there, they should have factored in the cost of paying for all parents to attend, instead of thrusting a £3,000 per person bill at them and expecting them to rock up. Now for the top comments before reading the update. Not the a-hole, yet one of the many reasons I dislike destination weddings. They're the penultimate egocentric events. Haha, I totally get this. We had a destination wedding in Italy as well, to be honest. However, before we booked it, we did rough price checks in terms of how much it would cost everyone. It actually ended up being cheaper than a lot of places in the UK, but we also made a list of who or what we could afford to pay for and who our non-negotiables were. If there were certain people who couldn't make it or afford it, we would have just booked somewhere in the UK. It worked out. We had 15 people. We paid for everyone's hotel room, and the flights were about £240 each, so we counted that as everyone's gift to us. We figured after travel, gifts, etc., it probably wasn't far off what people would pay to attend a local wedding. But I didn't expect Katie to do the same, as I knew she was having 70 people, and at the end of the day, it's her wedding. If it was important to have the families there, then why are they doing this extravagant wedding? 4 days. In Dubai of all places. Why not someplace closer and less expensive for travel? You're all in the UK, so there are lots of great countries nearby that would have beautiful venues. Wait a second, not only are they not paying for your parents, they're having your parents pay for his? That's like a double whammy. I don't know if you should go or not. Your choice will have a long-lasting impact on your relationship with your sister. Only you can decide if that is worth salvaging. I don't want to lose my sister over this, and I don't want to be that person who says it's the principle of the situation. But honestly, it really is. Lying and manipulating you and your parents out of £17,000 is not a small thing. It's not normal, and it's going to get worse. How long are you going to let her continue to use and lie to you? Honestly, this is so out of left field for her. I've never known her to do anything like this before. It's still sinking in. Now for the update 3 months later. I had a lot of messages at the time of posting asking for an update on what I decided to do, so I wanted to check in. So, in short, I didn't end up going to the wedding. Katie and Chris basically harassed me constantly until a few days before they were due to fly out. I received a belligerent voicemail from Katie saying that if I didn't go, I wasn't her sister anymore, that I was embarrassing myself and her and Chris. I was a horrible person. And most shockingly, that if I didn't go, then she and Chris wouldn't be paying me or my parents back for the money we loaned, so trying to blackmail me. She said she would claim it was a gift, that I faked the contract, and that I would have to take her to court. She was clearly drunk at the time. The voicemail was left on the night she was having her at-home hen do, which I also obviously didn't attend. But it was so beyond anything I thought she was capable of. I ended up sharing it with my parents, and they also reluctantly pulled out of attending. I heard through friends and family in attendance at the wedding that she and Chris were telling everyone I had alienated her from her family, told lies to our parents, that we gifted the money and expected them to pay for us, etc., etc., and that they had made the decision to uninvite myself and my husband. Other more insulting things were said that I don't particularly want to go into. Suffice it to say they were very hurtful. As I mentioned in my post, I had my brother-in-law, a solicitor, draw up a contract for repayment for both myself and my parents. What was supposed to be the first repayment date passed without a word from either of them, so brother-in-law picked up from there. His attempts to reach them were ignored, apart from one email from what I think was a fake law firm outlining that the money was gifted, the contract was fraudulent, and to take them to court, basically. In response to that, brother-in-law sent a copy of the voicemail Katie left and a final demand outlining that the payment plan was now null and void, and we wanted the money in full within 30 days, or we would indeed be going to court. Magically, the full amount appeared in our accounts 5 days later. Again, I've heard through the grapevine since the wedding that they've been telling anyone who would listen that we asked for our gift back out of the blue and disowned them, and how much of a difficult financial position they are in because of this. So that's that. I can't see myself having a relationship with her after this, which is devastating, but at the same time, I truly believe now, after everything, that that isn't my fault. Thanks again to everyone who gave advice. I hope this update is enough for everyone who asked for one. I'm a petty person. I would upload her message to all social media sites and tag her in them so people can hear, in her own words, how she was going to lie about all of that. You were not the a-hole then, and you are still not the a-hole. Everyone who has let me know what they've said has had my back and called her out on her lies, without my needing to fill them in the situation. She's doing enough damage in her own. At this point, I think the best thing I can do is let them dig their own grave and stay silent. Nice. When they go low, you go high. They're only embarrassing themselves. Shame it had to go this way. I'm actually super impressed she took the high road honestly, because if they go low, I'm going to hell. I think the worst part of this whole story is that if Katie had just been straight up and said, "Hey, we really want this for our wedding. His parents can't afford it. We're willing to pay so they can attend. We just don't have the cash on hand with all the other wedding expenses. Can you loan us money and we'll pay it back after the wedding?" OP sounds like they would have been cool with it, not the a-hole. Honestly, if she would have asked me in the beginning, I would have said yes to the loan, provided they paid for our parents as well as Chris. Part of the reason we got into this mess is because I thought she was taking advantage of our parents because, as she put it, they could afford it. Next story. Am I the a-hole for telling my stepsister if I was her real mom, I'd be so disgusted that she replaced me? Me and my stepsister are both 16. We've been stepsisters since we were 7. My mom married her dad then, and they got married after my dad and her mom died. We lost them when we were 5, and my mom and her dad met at a widowed people's support group. My stepsister and I feel different about being a blended family, and we don't feel the same about our step-parents. From the jump, she was happy to have my mom around, and she called her mom before my mom and her dad were even married. She said her dead mom was her first mom, and mom is the person she calls just mom now. I cried for days after I first met her dad and realized my mom was dating him. I never wanted to call him dad, and I never do. Not even one time. I only have one dad and he's gone, and I'd be happy if my stepsister's dad focused on his own kids and left me alone. My relationship with my stepfather is okay for the most part. It hurts him that I can't accept him the way his daughter accepted my mom, but we don't fight, not like me and my stepsister do. My stepsister has always said she doesn't understand why I want to ruin our family. She's called me heartless more times than I could count up. When we were 13, she was grounded for a month for telling me that if I was so dead inside that I couldn't love our family, then I should just go be with my dad. She said it to me again last year. I didn't tell my mom about it or my stepfather. I didn't see the point. I've been mean or rude right back. Sometimes I've even said stuff without her bothering me. There were times she wanted to bond as sisters, and I told her I didn't want her or like her, and to go away. I've called her annoying and I said she sucks the fun out of stuff. She does that to me sometimes, mostly when I'm having fun with friends. She'll get mad that I'm being happy and tell me it's sick that I can be happier with friends than with our family. Or if she sees me hugging or being close with my friends, she'll tell me I never hug her or her dad, and she'll complain about it and call me names. I hate it when she does that. I know she's jealous because she knows I don't love her. I don't like her either. I think she loves me but dislikes me, which makes things more intense. Our half-siblings are another fight between us. I'm closer to them and they seek me out more than her. And it hurts her feelings and makes her mad at me because she's accepted everyone as family and considers us one family while I don't. But I do accept my half-siblings, and I even love them. We've always had fights before. Fighting between us is not uncommon, and we even fought for 2 years in family therapy. We made no progress, and the therapist was not able to fix us like my mom and stepfather wanted. But we had a fight last week that was kind of different, and my mom is coming down super hard on me for what I said, and my stepsister is getting a pass. Father's Day was being talked about, and my half-brother asked to see what I got for my dad's grave. My stepsister lost her mind and started yelling at me about how I don't appreciate her dad like that, and how I let mom get something from me to him. How I didn't even want her dad to get something from me on Father's Day, and I'd only make a kind of effort on Step Family Day, which is a US thing that isn't that well known about. She told me that my dad would be so disappointed and ashamed of me treating my real dad like that, and Dad would know that he wasn't around to be my real dad, and her dad had more than earned that title or place. Then she told me that if there was an afterlife, that I'd never see my dad again, and that I'd end up alone because I deserved to be. I didn't hold back. I told her to go get lost, and then I told her if I was her real mom, I'd be disgusted that she replaced me, and I'd make sure she never got the peace of mind of knowing I was okay with it. I told her she had no loyalty to her real mom, and I thought it was sick, and that she saw people as easily replaced, and at least I give a crap about my real family. My stepsister left the kitchen, which is where the fight happened. She went up to her room and she cried, and she's still upset. She withdrew and was different all week. Even teachers noticed. My mom told me I had no reason to be so cruel, and how could I go so low in that fight? I argued that she was the one who went that far first. Mom told me what I said was worse and so unfair, when my stepsister was a good enough kid to love and accept and open her heart to everyone, which made me and Mom fight because I told her she didn't have to keep me here if she felt I was that bad. That only made my mom angrier. Am I the a-hole? The underlying issue is that your stepsister expected and still expects you to want what she wants. She wants a blended family where she accepts your mom as her new mom and you to accept her dad as your new dad. Your relationship with your stepsister is not going to improve until she accepts and respects your views on blended family. That is, her dad is stepdad and your dad remains dad. You accept your half-siblings very likely because they do not have the same expectations of you as your stepsister. Your mom is coming down super hard on you because I suspect her husband probably wants to be seen as your new dad, in a similar way as his daughter sees your mom as her new mom. What your stepsister said was very hurtful. I am not surprised you responded. What I see as sad, though, is that your stepsister is very likely parroting the wishes of her father. She was 7 when her father married your mom, and she would have no idea what a blended family would look like, other than what she was told. He should have put a stop to this a long time ago. Not the a-hole. Both parents should have. OP's mom should have respected her daughter's boundaries, and if she had, the situation might have been different. 2 years is a short amount of time to meet, introduce, move in, and marry, when kids are involved and have lost a parent. It was too quick for OP. Stepdad should have told his daughter to back off with the whole "he's your dad now" thing long ago. His feelings might be hurt that he hasn't been embraced like his daughter has his wife, but people don't have to feel the same. The halves understand that their dad isn't her dad. They ask her questions without accusations or expectations, and that's probably why OP likes and loves them.